your ways. Already read all your plays, yeah. I think I'm booked for tomorrow, yeah. And today just ain't your day, hey. I see you feeding they hate. See the bodies that you take. We do not break, never no breaks. Building this place on top of your plate. Come and see me by the my squad too deep. Gotta give it like Newsweek. Kicking these fat like Blue Lee, yeah. In front of never use like UV, yeah. UV, yeah. Sun gotta shine, Lord, UV. Hit him with the oil. Come out, share, don't let him fool you. He bring up your passport, bring up his few.
Welcome to Off the Clock, the show that talks one-on-one with all those involved in athletics, from coaches to fans to even students. Ronnie Ressel was named the head coach of the women's basketball team here in March of 2017, but he wasn't new to Missouri Southern. He spent 3 years as assistant coach and 1 year as an interim head coach. Welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Scott.
So you have a long history with Missouri Southern. So you're entering your 20th season here. What do you hope stands out about this season from past seasons?
Well, I think with the success we had last year, winning the conference regular season, actually tying with Fort Hays. I'm not going to discredit Fort Hays, but winning the regular season conference championship and then going on making the NCAA tournament was extremely exciting for our team last year. It's the first time we made it in 20 plus years. So with that experience coming back for this year and some of the new kids we brought in, our expectations, of course, have gone up. So we're excited about that. We were preseason picked to win our league this year, and we were preseason ranked in the polls, which is really neat. It's more of the media aspect of that. It doesn't do anything for us, but it just gives us an idea across the country, gives us some nice publicity for being preseason number 19. But we're excited. Our expectations are the same as it was. We want to try to win the regular season. This year we want to take those next steps, maybe win the conference tournament, of course go to the NCAA tournament, and then continue on from there. Try to get as far as we can. I mean, ideally, we'd love to go to Dallas, which is kind of neat. For this year will be different than years past. Normally the Division II national tournament is at one particular site. It goes to the Elite Eight. So you play your quarterfinal, semifinal, and championship all in 1 week. This year, we're going to play our quarterfinals and the semifinals up in St. Joe at the Civic Center in St. Joe, Missouri. But the championship game will actually be in Dallas, Texas, where the Division I national Final Four will be for the women. So that'll be really neat if we can accomplish that goal and make it to Dallas this year. And the semifinals for Division I will be on Friday. They'll play those two games. Our championship game, Division II and Division III, will be on Saturday, and then the Division I Women's Championship will be on Sunday. So if we can make the Dallas, and with that expectations, I think it would be really neat.
So we have some high hopes for this season. I have high hopes as well. So you were named the MIAA Coach of the Year last season. Congratulations on that, by the way. How did that feel when it was announced?
Well, it was a good feeling. But it was a feeling of an accomplishment that we did as a team. Okay, I'm the head coach. I got the HC in front of my name, so I get recognized as the Coach of the Year. But without our staff, with Coach Porter and Coach Fritz, our team, and what they accomplished throughout winning the regular season, I don't get named Coach of the Year. So it's more of a program award. But yeah, my name's on there. But it was kind of neat on that aspect because that's voted on by your peers in the league that make that decision. So. It was a good feeling. There's no doubt about that, but a lot of credit goes to our players and our staff that helped us get to that point and have that type of success.
And speaking of other, you're only as good as your team under you. So you also had some athletes that were also named on the MIAA tournament team. What do you think that says about how you're leading this program?
Well, again, it goes back to what we do as a collective whole. And our kids last year, and it's continued to this year, it's great recognition. We had Lacey for regular season player of the year. Maddie Stokes and Amaya Johns made third team all MIAA. Lacey and Lane Skiles made the all-tournament team, the MIAA tournament team. It just gives credit to our kids, how hard they worked and what they've accomplished as individuals within our team game. Of course, none of them get those awards without their teammates pushing them every day in practice, pushing them as far as getting extra workouts in, getting extra shots up in. So it's good recognition for them in our program, but it's a team concept in that aspect, and more well-deserving of all involved with what they accomplished. So they've really worked hard last year, and they're continuing to work hard this year. And again, that's why we're so excited about this year. Our kids have gotten in the gym and they're working. We got 14 on our roster, and all 14 are getting individual workouts throughout the week besides our practice. And I think that is so huge. One, it helps in the aspect of our practice. We don't have to go for 2.5 hours. Now we can go for 2 hours or an hour and 45 minutes because we don't have to do a lot of shooting drills because our kids are getting in the gym and getting some shots up on their own. And I think that's a big, huge advantage because our kids' expectations of themselves to what they want to accomplish within our team concept is huge.
So what would you say is the kind of like key to finding that success in this season? Is it having that dedication to not only practicing while you guys are at practice, but getting in that outside time?
I think it's huge, but within that, you build a lot of build that relationship, coaches, players to players, coaches to coaches, and you build that trust. And I think that's so huge that our kids trust each other, trust the coaches trust the players while we're on the practice floor, while we're in games, that we're going to do what we need to do to win ball games. And we're building that within our individual workouts. We're building that within our practice. In any type of meetings we have, we've done a couple different things to continue to work on that. But it's one of those that, to me, the stronger your bond is as a whole unit, the more successful you can be because you're playing for each other, not just for yourself. You're playing for each other. It's kind of like in the rabbit hole as far as you're wanting to play for them to make sure we're all successful. So I think that's the biggest thing we've accomplished the last 2 years is our kids want to play for each other and be successful.
Yeah, so it's that you have that very nice teamwork to mesh together. People aren't fighting each other; they're working with each other. So obviously, it's nice to have some standout players. But as this is a team sport, how do you strike that balance of utilizing all players in that team effort?
Well, you do that in practice, and you do that in building that relationship and making sure, trying to make sure the kids understand what their roles are within the team concept. We got our 5 starters, and we actually got a couple kids I think that could be starting as well besides our 5, and that's really nice. But within that, we've got, like I said, 14 kids on. You can only play 5 at a time. So some kids are going to get more minutes than others, but you got to make sure they understand their importance and their value because every one of them is extremely valuable. We got one young lady that we're redshirting this year, Ryan Franklin, a freshman, that she's extremely valuable in the aspect that she gets into practice every day. She's 6'3", and she goes against Maddie every day, and it's making Maddie better. So when Maddie gets in the game, it seems easier for her in a game than it is in practice. And plus, that's helping Ryan as well, going against Maddie and Mira and Amaya and Lane and all our big kids in there. So it's important that our kids are valued no matter what their role is, and they are. And when they feel value, they feel like they're a part of something, and they feel the trust and their want that they want to be a part of that team and be successful.
So yeah, that to me that makes entirely sense, only because you build that foundation, and it gives a good moving forward of knowing, because once people realize that what they're doing is important, it adds to the motivation. Not just wanting to win the game, but wanting to do well for everyone. So you have players being recognized for blocks. Maddie Stokes, for example, is the only Lion to ever have 45 or more in consecutive seasons. Fans often get excited about great shots, but should these also get equal praise?
Yeah, I agree, especially on the women's side, because to me a block, or if you pick up a charge or you do something on the defensive end, that'll translate to excitement, and that'll translate to more energy. And if you get a block and we get a transition, we get a layup or knock down a shot, it started because of that block. And the thing about Maddie, she's blocked a lot of shots, but she also changes a lot of shots. Kids come in there, if they get beat if we happen to get beat
out on the perimeter and a kid's coming to shoot a layup and she comes across and puts her arm up, those kids a lot of times are looking at that hand instead of looking where they're going to shoot the ball. And there's a big difference trying to shoot over 6'4" than it is 5'10". It's just you go back to some of the bigs in college and the NBAs and the WNBA. It just makes a difference having a 6'4" kid there in the middle, disrupting a lot of things. It makes our defense better, and it does give confidence to our perimeter players when they're defending out there. If they happen to get beat, they know Maddie's back there to help defend them, to help them out, and will create some havoc. So the blocks are a huge part of our defense and changing shots that Maddie does that makes us successful on the defensive end.
So this is kind of like a fun question. So we're asking everyone this question off the clock. What is your favorite concession stand treat or food?
Well, one, I don't get to the concession stand too much. But, and I don't know if we still have this, but my wife and my son really like the Chick-fil-A sandwiches. They would always go over to get Chick-fil-A sandwiches, but I don't get to the concession. A lot of times, before the game, I don't get over there. And of course, after the game, I'm not hungry. The intensity of the game and everything else, I've got to wind down for an hour or two before I feel like I can eat something, because I don't think I can go right after a game and get something to eat at the concession stand. But I know their popcorn's pretty good too. So, but if I polled my wife and my son, they'd say Chick-fil-A. And as far as with the sandwiches.
So we're going to the outside source. So you had to make it through seasons during the pandemic, which cut things short.
Yeah.
Was there some extra conditioning or training needed to get fully ready for everything?
Well, we were lucky within our league, and credit the MIAA as far as how they did things, as far as their rules and regulations. We were lucky, of course. The year it started, we had finished already that season, and the next year, I think we had to reschedule only one game, and we didn't play a full schedule. We played 22 games. We played all our conference games, but it was pretty normal for us because we did a good job of, one, trying to stay healthy as much as possible. We got hit a couple times with kids having to quarantine and everything, and that was a challenge with that. And I think we went a week and a half that our whole team got quarantined that year. So the conditioning aspect was a little bit of a struggle, but it was at the same time, our kids were pretty motivated that once they got out ready, they're pretty mentally tough, that they could fight through a lot of different things with that. But it was a challenge just, for us, games getting canceled, have to reschedule playing, you might play 3 games or 4 games in a 9-day span, which is extremely difficult. So then with playing games, your practices become shorter because you don't want to wear them out for the game. So we had to adjust a little bit there because we played so many games in such short period of times. But like I said, our kids, they fought through it, and it was a challenge. There's no doubt about it. But I thought they did a really good job.
Well, you obviously guys got through it, and watching the season, you guys did what you could and did a very good season. So I'd like to thank you for being here, and let's get back to the game.
Now, when it comes to fear, you can either forget everything and run. I say or you can face everything and rise. I believe. And let me tell you what I believe. I believe that. I believe we're gonna face everything. I believe that we will win. It's time to knuckle up and fight hard. Now let's all buckle up and fight hard. Say it with me. I believe. Say it with me. I believe that. Say it with me. I believe that we will win. Bottom line, no matter what, face everything and rise.